After a great part 1 of my no magic run,
Triple kill.
it was time to tackle part 2 of my journey. After Logan's fleet sank our ship, supposedly killing Walter, Ben, and I awoke to Walter calling my name. Neither of us knew where Ben were or where we were, but we had to push on in hopes of finding Aurora and our new allies. Walter and I entered a cave with a glowing circle on the floor. Looking for clues, Walter found a book. While reciting one of the spooky lines, Walter opened the seal on the floor, allowing us to descend down this mysterious staircase where the seal at the top locked us in. My good boy brought us a torch we could use to light our path. We progressed through the cave stealthily, eventually running into the darkness. The darkness was created from a void cast away by the first hero of Albion, with the sole purpose of consuming everything, creating a world devoid of color and life. After we finished off the darkness, we moved on only to have a gust of wind blow out the torch. We heard things moving around us, and as Walter furiously tried to light the torch, he finally did, scaring away whatever was around us. Walter tried to hit it with fire, but the crawler had vanished. We pushed on, fighting off more of the darkness, until the crawler taunted Walter for being a little soy boy. And to prove he wasn't, Walter yeeted the torch at the crawler, burning him until he disappeared. We came to a ledge that we had to jump down. I went first, and of course Walter would get abducted before he was able to jump, so I pushed on, fighting off the darkness until I eventually made it to Walter, finding him covered in the crawler's good stuff. To save Walter, I had to fight off hordes of the darkness in a semi-boss like fight. I used a creature summon potion to help distract the boss while I stood there and absolutely boat raced that guardian. After defeating the boss, Walter was freed, but the crawler's ooey gooey goodness still blinded him. I had to lead Walter the rest of the way by hand. We eventually made it outside, where Walter finally succumbed to his soy boy natures and gave up, telling me to go on without him or he'll just slow me down. I accepted his offer to ditch his ass and raced my way across the desert. I had spotted a place off in the distance that might have people. The crawler taunted me the whole run there, showing me visions of Walter to try and give up. I eventually made it to the temple, but passed out either from fatigue or because of the crawler. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I woke next to Will Smith's wife and Ben Finn. They found me passed out at the temple. They got Walter as well and took us both back to Aurora to recover. Once there, Ben explained how Kalen saved him and they searched for us. Kalen explained the crawler in the darkness showed up 5 years ago and have terrorized Aurora, killing most of its residents, with those still alive too small in numbers to defeat it. I toured the city and came back to Kalen, promising her to rebuild Aurora and protect its people, then teleported to the Road to Rule, where Teresa told me, with the people of Aurora on my side, my army was big enough to attack the castle and bring justice to Logan. The locals cured Walter's soy boy blindness, and we set sail back to Albion. Once back, we discussed our plan of attack. Ready for war, we put our fists together. I knew I could sprint past all the guards in the first part to hit the cannon and get the doors blown off, so after that, we fought our way up, meeting up with Sabine and Boulder along the way. We continued fighting. I basically just had to spam ranged if I ever got hit so I could just heal the damage off. We finished off the last guard and met up with everybody and made our way to the castle. Once inside the castle, we forced Logan to surrender. He will face a court decision to see if he should be executed for his crimes against Albion and its people. And with that, Logan's tyranny comes to an end. My revolution a success, I became the new king of Albion. My first order of business as king was to give the verdict for Logan. Everyone stated their case for Logan's execution, but he explained his actions, stating that the darkness was on its way to Albion, and he only did what he had to build up the military and protect the citizens. I decided to spare Logan because in my last playthrough I had him taken out to the parking lot and shot, but I knew his private guards will help in the final battle if you spare him. I was teleported to the Road to Rule, where Teresa echoed the exact same things as Logan, showing me a vision that in 1 year time, the darkness will spread from Aurora and come to destroy Albion, and if my army isn't built in time, we'll all die. I upgraded my ranged and melee to level 5, which is the max, and left the Road to Rule. The basics of being the king in the game is you have to get 6.5 million gold to save all your citizens. You have a full year to do this, but the days go by quickly. It's really skipping days to make sure that you make or break promises from earlier in the game. You have a couple of tasks to do per day, and once those tasks are done, the day is over and it skips ahead. So I started buying as many homes as I could to get as much money passively as possible. I returned to the throne room and kept my promise to Paige to rebuild the old quarter we destroyed during our attack on the castle. I went another 200k in debt to raise the guard budget and kept my promise to Kaylin to help Aurora. I then had to travel to Aurora and complete the Desert Star, a quest to capture one of the 7 Chaos Emeralds and turn it into money. Completing this quest on its own is a pain in the ass, but with no glow trail, it's like sticking a toothpick under my toenail and kicking a wall. After clearing all the Sand Furies on my way out, I returned to the castle with Chaos Control. I donated to the treasury, lost 200k of it to restore child benefits, and kept another promise to Paige. Didn't dump sewage, and returned to the old Bowerstone Resistance HQ to meet with Paige for a quest. Paige said that a pub was about to get robbed, and for old time's sake, let's stop it. So we rolled up to smoke them fools when we were tipped off about Nigel Ferret's secret lair. He was going to try and kill us just like he did when we rescued Elise in the earlier quest. We beat all of Nigel's men and continued through, finding Nigel locked himself in a cell with an escape tunnel and forced us to fight 2 Saker reskins. The Albion reskins were a pretty easy fight. I popped a creature summon to distract them and absolutely throttled both of them with my Lunar Pussy Pounder. After beating the Saker twins, Paige showed up, and Nigel admitted he locked himself in the wrong cell that doesn't have the escape route. I rejected his bribe and kept his ass locked up in the slammer. Bright lights, cold steel, baby. I returned to the treasury to remove the drink limit, because if you do this, you'll see some citizens walk around drunk, which is pretty damn hilarious. I kept my promise to Samuel to restore the library, along with rejecting the proposal by Reaver to mine Bower Lake for minerals and oil. After that, I had to travel to Millfields and complete the stolen statue. A wealthy citizen wanted to donate a statue for funds, but someone stole it and we need to find out who. This is the same type of quest like Desert Star, one with a big reward at the end, so I'll skip through most of it. I traveled to a nearby town. They almost blasted a hole in me because of a Balverine problem they're having. I went to hunt down the Balverines and ran into an exiled citizen. He fell asleep on duty and Balverines attacked. He wants revenge and stole the statue to turn into a Balverine. He'll give it back to us if we put out the special torches on the skirts of the village that prevent Balverines from entering so he can get his revenge. I chose to defend the village because I needed as many houses as possible to maximize my income. The exiled citizen showed up and turned into a Balverine. He was a pretty easy boss fight, so I got the statue and returned to the wealthy citizen. I donated the statue to the treasury, and the day was complete. I bailed out the economy and chose to build a desert fort in Aurora for Kalen. I then gave Sabine back his rightful land, and after doing that, I was prompted to commission the Army of Albion, basically the final checkpoint that tells you how many of your citizens will die in the coming attack. So it was time to buy all the property in Albion and AFK until I had enough money to save all my citizens. So I basically just sat there the entire time, AFK in the millfields, waiting until I had enough money. I believe with all the properties, it probably took 6 to 8 hours to get all the money after being so far in debt. I transferred all the money I had just to be safe, and now I'm able to save every citizen. I met with Hobson to commission the army. I was then teleported to the road to rule, as the darkness had begun to spread. I realized since I had filmed this run a while back, the audio had broke, so I had to put subtitles on. There wasn't any audio past this point, but Teresa told me I was Albion's champion. I'd kept all my promises and grubbed enough money to save everybody. I was teleported back to the war room with everyone else. Walter gave a pep rally to boost everybody's attack points, and we were teleported to Bowerstone Market to fend off the darkness. I realized I'm a dirty liar. I fixed the audio bug somehow, and we don't have to see subtitles anymore. So we fought our way through Bowerstone Market, all the while the crawler taunting us about how he's going to kill everybody. I don't think it was particularly hard to fight the Shadow Children, since I still had the Holy Vengeance with Lifesteal from Part 1. It made the game and the challenge 1,000 times easier, but it still would have been easy given the fact you can stack potions, and I currently have 48. The crawler taunted me some more, but since I wasn't a little soy boy bitch like Walter, I strunk. So I battled until I faced a Guardian. The bridge was a little tight, but spamming ranged autos with final melee strikes proves for fast combos. I had to fight one more Guardian and applied the same strategy, quickly killing it before heading off to face the final boss. Walter tried to fight the Crawler, and the Crawler was glad his lover boy came back for the gooeyes. The Crawler was heading right for them guts, going inside Walter to take control of him. The final boss would be a rematch of the first, a battle against my mentor, Sir Walter Beck. As I started this fight, I couldn't help but think of all the fun I had with this challenge. I was able to prove an armchair analyst wrong and have fun while doing it. I think it was challenging not to be able to bail myself out of any spot with a whirlwind fire combo, but it proposed a good challenge if you liked the game a lot. After landing the final blow, I killed the crawler inside of Walter. Unfortunately, This killed Walter in the process, and he dies in my arms. I don't know how long passes, but we all gather by a statue built in honor of Walter. Since I kept all my promises, everybody stayed with me. After Teresa appears, congrats me, and disappears again, the screen fades to black, and I know I have beaten Fable 3 without using magic. To prove this is legit, I'll show the stats here. You can see I have 104 spell kills, which ties out exactly to the 104 bats I had to kill at the start of the game. It also shows the combat page, which shows that I didn't die the entire playthrough. It does say I have 8 force spell kills, but I never purchased the Force Gauntlet from the Road to Rule at any point, and I'll show the footage here. So I'm not really sure where that came from. But thank you so much for watching all the way to this point. If you could subscribe or like, I really would appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this challenge with me and enjoyed my gameplay as much as I did. Go check out part 1 if you already didn't, and see you next time.